The year is 2142. A Wanutani drone intercepts the drifting wreckage of the spaceship USCSS Nostromo. Later, an investigation is launched by mass specialists. They open the object, which reveals a laboratory with a curled-up xenomorph in the fetal position. Meanwhile, in the star colony Jackson Star, a young woman named Rain Karine awakens to the sound of an alarm calling her to work in the mine. Andy, her adopted brother, joins her for breakfast and tries to cheer her up. He wants to work to pay for his flight to Iga, but Rain asks him to wait while she goes to the colony office. Rain has met the required quota and hopes to leave, especially since her parents died many years ago, leaving her with nothing to keep her on the star. However, contrary to the law, the office worker refuses her resignation and informs her that the quota has been increased. Just then, Rain notices a gang of juvenile thugs beating up her brother, and it is revealed that Andy is a synthetic human. Rain resets him, and he regains consciousness. Tyler, her ex-boyfriend, calls at this point, inviting Rain to meet with him to discuss a lucrative deal. Despite her fears of a plot, the girl travels to the outskirts of town, where the space tug Corbelan is parked. Tyler's cousin, Bjorn, and his girlfriend, Navarro, are also working on the tug. Rain and Andy board the ship and are greeted warmly by Tyler's sister, Kay. Rain has been informed that they discovered an abandoned spaceship orbiting the planet by accident yesterday. They have long fulfilled their required quotas, but the planet's administration refuses to let them leave. The young people decided to take their tug to the derelict ship in the hopes of discovering cryochambers that would allow them to escape to Iaga, a planet with better living conditions. They invited Rain because she has Andy, and only synthetics can communicate with the ship's computer systems. Tyler warns her that if she refuses, she will rot in the colony for the rest of her days. Rain agrees. The group takes the mining transport to the abandoned spaceship. For some reason, Bjorn constantly mocks Andy, which Rain dislikes, but the synthetic remains friendly and ignores him. The tug ascends above the planet, and Rain sees the sun for the first time. Soon, the space object appears in front of them, and they realize it is actually a decommissioned outpost stuck in orbit. However, it is revealed that the station is rapidly falling toward the planet's rings, with the ship colliding with them in 36 hours. Rain requests that Andy reconsider before boarding the ship, but the synthetic has only one directive, written by the girl's father, to do everything for her. The tug docks at the station, and Andy's signal quickly opens the airlock. Tyler, Bjorn, and Andy board the station. The systems are malfunctioning, and gravity is unstable, but the ship's motherboard powers on, enabling the oxygen supply. Tyler finally arrives at the capsules, only to discover that, despite being intact, there is insufficient cryo-fuel for the flight to Iaga. However, the group discovers another cryo chamber on board, which, based on its size, should hold plenty of fuel. Meanwhile, Rain, perplexed by Bjorn's hostility toward Andy, discovers that during a mine accident, one of the synthetics abandoned Bjorn's injured mother. Meanwhile, Navarro goes to check the capsules, and Kay reveals to Rain that she is pregnant. The station system greets the humans and tells them that the object is divided into two sections, Romula and Remus. Bjorn then tells Andy the truth. He is only needed for the initial stage, after which he will be left to die. Rain overhears this confession and cries because she lacks the courage to tell her brother the truth. The group continues to explore the station, surprised that it appears to be abandoned rather than decommissioned. Bjorn discovers an electric whip and teases Andy once more, but the synthetic saves him from falling into a large hole in the floor. Soon the group discovers a large, still-functioning cryo chamber and begins extracting fuel from it, inadvertently triggering automatic isolation. For some reason, the lockdown does not respond to Andy's commands, implying that the room is potentially dangerous. Inside, Rain and Navarro board the ship to save the men. Rain removes the chip from the damaged android and inserts it into Andy's brain, hoping that it will give him complete control of the station. They locate the men and give the chip to Tyler, who inserts it into Andy. The synthetic freezes when he reboots. During this time, he notices strange creatures sitting inside the ship. Meanwhile, Bjorn discovers strange bio-orbs in a nearby partially flooded chamber. However, he does not have time to figure out what they are because he is being attacked by invisible creatures in the water. Tyler attempts to assist his friend, but is also attacked by a facehugger. Andy reboots and saves Bjorn. The group flees, but the facehuggers easily break through the doors, and one of them attaches itself to Navarro's face. Suddenly, Andy begins explaining the scientific nature of the creature's actions, surprising everyone. Rain realizes it's the chip, but Andy refuses to obey her. The chip does not grant him full access to the station, allowing him to fix bugs in his programming while canceling his mission to serve Rain. To save Navarro, Andy activates the damaged android Rook, who is a scientist at the station. Rook informs the group that the station's personnel have all been killed by these creatures and Navarro cannot be rescued. The parasite has implanted a seed in her that will quickly fuse with her DNA, allowing the xenomorph to develop. Rook shows them a specimen preserved in the lab and explains how humans first encountered this species 20 years ago. Only one woman survived, and she managed to throw the monster into the airlock. When the company learned of this, they began searching for it. They discovered it, convinced that space had killed the xenomorph. However, it turned out that the organism was just sleeping. Rain suggests freezing the parasite's tail with cryogenic fuel. When this works and Navarro regains consciousness, Rook warns Andy that the facehugger has most likely completed its mission and advises against allowing Navarro back on the tug. Despite this, Bjorn transports Navarro to the Corballan, leaving Andy, Tyler, and Rain behind. They detach the tug, and Kay awakens confused about what is going on. Navarro suddenly begins to feel unwell. Kay tries to help, but a xenomorph emerges from Navarro's chest and kills her. The Corballan crashes into the Romulus hangar, disrupting the station's orbit and sending it on an unavoidable collision course with Jackson's planetary rings. Rain, Andy, and Tyler rush to the hangar to save their friends before attempting to escape on the tug. Meanwhile, Rook makes his way to the command center and contacts the ship's mainboard. As Tyler and Rain move through the station, they encounter more creatures swarming the corridors. Andy discovers that the facehuggers cannot see but can detect human body heat, implying that in order to pass them undetected, they must raise the air temperature to 36.6 degrees while remaining extremely quiet. The couple follows through on their plan, slowly making their way toward the hangar. Meanwhile, Kay escapes the Corballan and crosses paths with Bjorn in one of the corridors. They try to flee the Corballan together, but the passage is covered in xenomorph cocoons, indicating that the creatures are metamorphosing into adult forms. Bjorn attempts to destroy one of them with his electric whip, and at first it appears to work. But Bjorn is fascinated by the creature's blood, which can easily burn through metal barriers. Suddenly, the xenomorph sprays him with acid, and Bjorn dies. Kay reaches the door, but is unable to open it. Tyler and Rain attempt to assist her when they are attacked by facehuggers. They flee, and Andy seals the doors behind them. Despite Tyler's pleas, Andy refuses to open the hangar door that has trapped Kay. The group watches helplessly as the xenomorph attacks and drags Kay into the station's depths. After the initial shock, Rain realizes that Andy has a new directive: act in the best interests of the company. She understands that they must remove the chip. The synthetic tells everyone to leave, explaining that he will help them escape and then return to Jackson to complete his new mission. Andy leads the pair to the laboratory, where Rook explains that the station discovered a special substance that will help humanity evolve into perfect beings capable of colonizing the entire universe. Prometheus 5 died for this purpose, and the substance is regarded as a divine gift to humanity. The substance contains a genome responsible for the xenomorph's ability to control their metabolism, which can be transferred into human DNA via blood, allowing humanity to evolve instantly. Andy discovers a capsule containing black liquid. As his mission is now to deliver the sample to the colony, he arms the pair in the hopes that they will not need to use it, as the xenomorph's acidic blood can easily burn through the ship's walls. The group makes their way to the tug, coming across a massive incubator of creatures along the way. Tyler hears Kay's voice and rushes to help her. Rain is forced to follow him. They soon discover Kay is still alive, but cocooned by the xenomorph. They release her. Andy suggests injecting the black liquid into Kay, but Rain is against the idea. She proposes placing Kay in a cryochamber so that Earth's doctors can save her. Just then, a xenomorph attacks and drags Tyler away. Andy freezes, leaving Rain to drag Kay to the lift and seal the doors behind them. Rain notices Andy's farewell glance and realizes she cannot leave him behind. She sends Kay to the ship, explaining how to handle the sample capsule, and then returns for Andy, removing the extra chip from his brain and restoring him to his normal behavior. The creatures then begin to activate. Rain asks Rook to open the doors, but he refuses because he does not want to risk the station. Andy's access codes are also blocked. Meanwhile, Kay arrives at the Corballan and hears Rook's request that she hand over control to him so that he can transport her to the colony. Rain temporarily disables the ship's artificial gravity to shoot down the attacking xenomorphs. She and Andy make it to the lift heading toward the Corballan, dodging acidic blood splatters. However, when gravity is restored, Rain loses her weapon and falls into the elevator shaft, where she is intercepted by a xenomorph. At the same time, the acidic blood begins to burn through the ship's metal, and Andy can no longer hold the lift, which collapses, smashing the xenomorph and leaving Rain clinging to the shaft's wall. A new monster appears, but is defeated by Andy. They hear a warning about the impending collision and rush to the tug, which comes under the mothership's control just as the station crashes into the rings, destroying it alongside Rook. Rain stops the Kerbalan and informs Andy that their plans have changed. They are going to Yaga. Suddenly, Kay's capsule emits alarming signals. Rain rushes to it and discovers Kay is giving birth to an egg, from which a mutant xenomorph emerges. Rain ejects it into a cargo capsule, arming herself before descending to finish off the creature. However, it has already grown and broken free. Rain hears Kay's screams and rushes to help, only to discover Andy wounded by the monster. She barely sees the xenomorph kill Kay before fleeing into the transition chamber. She puts on a spacesuit and lures the xenomorph into the cargo hold. As the tug lands on the ring's surface, she ejects it into space while still holding onto the ship. However, the xenomorph grabs her and nearly shatters her helmet's visor. Nonetheless, Rain manages to break free and return to the ship. Rain later places Andy in one of the stasis chambers and, before entering cryosleep, considers their prospects for arriving at Yaga.